Morning, Top Gun here, 5 a.m. on Saturday, May 1st. This is the YouTube pre-market commentary. All right, my problem stocks, Clorox, Gilead, Altria. All right, so earlier in my career and persisting for longer than I'd like to admit, I had a attraction to value traps. What are value traps? Value traps are stocks that look cheap on a statistical, numeric basis, quantitative basis, but are cheap for a reason, because they are low quality, deteriorating businesses. Now, I linked to and I wrote about my disastrous investment in Tailored Brands in 2019 and 2020, last November. And that was really a wake-up call for me. That I had just made this mistake too many times. And I'm not alone in making this mistake. In fact, Warren Buffett admits to making this mistake, and it took him about 20 years, he says, in the his 1989 letter to shareholders. In a humorous way, you can read the quote in my blog from November. So I'm always on the lookout for, am I making this mistake again? Or in this case, because we're talking about big, highly respected companies with great brands and long histories, am I making a shade of this mistake? Am I overemphasizing quantitative cheapness at the expense of quality and business strength, which I don't want to do? Okay, so turning to Clorox. Clorox was a pandemic monster, right? Everybody washing their hands all the time, sanitizing everything. That's Clorox's sweet spot. And so they reported organic sales revenue of plus 26% in the fourth quarter of 2020, plus 27% in the third quarter, plus 22% in the second quarter, and plus 17% in the first quarter. Now, as the pandemic has waned and people have shifted their attention towards the reopening, Clorox's stock has got hit. Now, when it did, I saw an opportunity, because my thought was, look, the pandemic's going to leave a long shadow. I know for me, I'm still washing my hands far more than I did, and just being much more cleanliness conscious than I was before the pandemic. And so I assume that a lot of other people are going to be doing the same thing. Now, this might or might not have been called into question by Clorox's first quarter yesterday morning, where they reported negative 1% organic sales growth. Now, you say negative 1, well, that's a big change from the mid to high 20s. However, we're talking about a tough comp, right? Plus 17% in the first quarter of last year. So in that context, minus 1, they're holding on to a lot of those gains. Nevertheless, it makes sense that as the pandemic becomes more and more controlled, Clorox's sales are going to decline. The two are going to be inversely related. But I do still harbor this long-term thesis. So, and the other problems with Clorox are that it's really not that cheap at 24 times their current fiscal year, which ends at the end of the second quarter, adjusted EPS guidance of 745 to 765. And the stock is acting really, really poorly. As you can see, it's really close to breaking down. I've included a support line in the chart, and we kissed it yesterday morning before bouncing pretty hard, but we're closer than I'd like. Moving on to Gilead. So Gilead is a pharmaceutical company based, right, maybe 8 miles north and east of me here, where I'm on my bike. In Foster City, California, and their main portfolio of drugs is for HIV. And when they reported earnings Thursday afternoon, that portfolio had a 12% sales decline. Now, that's larger than it's been in recent quarters, and it concerned investors, it concerned me, and the stock got hit hard at the open, though it rallied back all day yesterday to close down only 0.58%. So Gilead is cheap at 9 times its 2021 non-GAAP diluted EPS guidance of 675 to 745. It's got tremendous free cash flow and a nice dividend at 4.47%. But if the HIV franchise is in permanent decline and they can't replace it from their pipeline, and I'm a generalist, so I don't really know their pipeline that well. So if that HIV franchise is in permanent decline, this is probably not a stock I want to be in. So I'm going to need to watch that very closely. All right, finally, let's talk about Altria. Altria is a stock that I bought really well in the low 40s, and it was trading in the low 50s until the Biden administration came out, and we're talking about regulating menthol cigarettes or eliminating menthol cigarettes and reducing the allowable nicotine content in cigarettes in general. And this obviously whacked Altria really hard, which has a big domestic cigarette business. That's basically what the company does. In addition, on Thursday morning, they reported a 12% decline in cigarette shipments. This caught my eye. 12% is a lot year over year. Bigger numbers than we've seen. So again, I liked Altria because it was working, right? I want to make money, but I liked it because of its attractive valuation. It's currently at 10.5 times its 2021 adjusted diluted EPS guidance of 449 to 462, and it's got this nice 7.2% dividend. So even if the stock goes nowhere, it's paying you 7% just to sit there. However, this regulatory risk is the reason the multiple has been compressed through in recent history, and this Biden administration proposal is cigarette stockholders' worst nightmare if it comes to fruition. So it's going to be an overhang on the stock until it gets resolved. So these are the things I'm worrying about. I've got this history of an inclination towards value traps, and I just want to make sure that I'm not making any form of that error right now. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend.